Hello, this is Skylit Lake reading The Perfect Housewife by Canonical Chaos. One shot, 3,600 words. Summary. Wait! Hagakure piped up, her invisible form bouncing slightly on the couch. You're saying Bakugou, the Bakugou, might actually be perfect wife material? The room went silent as the girls considered this. Then as one, they burst into laughter. The thought of Bakugou, the explosive, angry, murderous Bakugou, as anything remotely soft was absurd. Or so they thought. I think we should investigate, Mina declared, her mischievous grin lighting up her face. The girls of 1A were gathered in the common room, whispering among themselves like conspirators. They were in the middle of a very important discussion. Bakugou Katsuki. Listen, Mina began, leaning forward conspiratorially. I'm telling you, Bakugou is really good at stuff you'd never expect. Like, you remember the cake he made for Jiro's birthday? Jiro nodded, crossing her arms. Yeah, that thing was perfect, like Pinterest perfect. How does someone like him even know how to pipe frosting? Not to mention the way he folded laundry during cleaning duty last week, Yarozu added, her eyes wide. Hospital corners on fitted sheets. Who does that? Uraka snorted. And did you see how he patched up Kaminari's ripped hero costume? That stitching was flawless. Wait, Hagakure piped up, her invisible form bouncing slightly on the couch. You're saying Bakugou, the Bakugou, might actually be perfect housewife material? The room went silent as the girls considered this. Then as one, they burst into laughter. The thought of Bakugou, the explosive, angry, murderous Bakugou, as anything remotely soft was absurd. Or so they thought. I think we should investigate, Mina declared, her mischievous grin lighting up her face. The investigation began the next morning. Mina, Jiro, and Hagakure stationed themselves near the kitchen, watching as Bakugou went about his morning routine. To their shock, he wasn't just functional in the kitchen, he was a pro. His movements were quick and precise as he scrambled eggs, fried bacon, and toasted bread. Kirishima eats half the fridge every morning, so you better wake your dumbasses up before I eat his share. Bakugou barked, his voice gruff but not angry. Got it, Mina whispered to Jiro. He's cooking breakfast for everyone. As if to confirm their suspicions, Bakugou rolled his eyes and muttered, Bunch of useless extras. Can't even feed themselves without me. But the way he plated everything carefully, with a chef's precision, told a different story. The next piece of puzzle came during the evening study session. Kaminari had flopped onto the couch dramatically, groaning about his math homework. This is hopeless. I'm hopeless. How am I supposed to pass even if I can't? Shut up and sit down, dunce face, Bakugou snapped, pulling Kaminari by the wrist and pushing him into a chair at the dining table. Bakugou, Baku, what you doing? Stop whining and focus. Bakugou pulled out a notebook, flipping to a clean page. Look, idiot, this is how you solve for X. To everyone's shock, Bakugou's explanation was clear, patient, and, dare they say, kind. Kaminari, for his part, looked awestruck. Dude, you're like so good at this. Why don't you tutor more often? Because you're all dumbasses who don't deserve my time, Bakugou replied, but his ears were tinged pink. The girls decided to confront Kaminari about it. Hey, Kaminari, began Mina casually the next day. What's the deal with you and Bakugou? Kaminari blinked. What does that mean? Well, Jiro said, raising an eyebrow, he's weirdly nice to you. Like, have you seen him help anyone else with homework? Or cook them breakfast? Or patch up their costumes? Kaminari scratched the back of his head, his grin sheepish. Well, I don't know. I guess he just likes me? Likes you? Yarozo repeated, her tone laced with curiosity. As in, likes you, likes you? Kaminari's face burned red. Maybe. I mean, he's always been kind of soft with me. Soft? Mina pounced on the word. Like how? Well, he lets me nap on him sometimes, and he remembers all my favorite snacks. And when I was having a bad day, he kind of, makes me feel better. The girls stared at him, dumbfounded. Bakugou Katsuki, the human explosion, was soft. The girls of Class 1A were unstoppable once they had a mystery to solve. They had pieced together the strange domesticity of Bakugou Katsuki, theorized his secret softness, and concluded that he had a special connection with Kaminari Denki. Now, their mission was to confirm whether this connection was a bromance or something else. To say the boys of 1A were skeptical would be the understatement. That's manly. Baku bro, dating? Kami? You've lost it, Kirishima had said, although his resolve wavered after being reminded of old evidence. They're probably just close friends, Midoriya offered nervously. Right? I mean, Kanchan doesn't seem like that type. He's literally the type, Mina cut in, throwing her hands up. The grumpy, secretly soft for the sunshine dummy trope. It's a classic. That evening, the class decided to set a trap. It was movie night again, and everyone had gathered in the common room. Mina, Jiro, and Hagakure had carefully positioned themselves to keep an eye on Bakugou and Kaminari. The rest of the class, now in on the scheme, pretended to be oblivious. Bakugou, as always, sat in his usual spot on the couch, arms crossed, glaring at the screen. Kaminari was sprawled on the floor in front of him, chattering about movie choices. Hey, let's watch something scary, Kaminari suggested, his grin wide. Are you dumb? Bakugou snapped. You'll cry like a baby. What? Rude, Kaminari shot back, puffing out his cheeks. I can handle scary movies. Sure you can, Sparky, Bakugou muttered, but his lips twitched like he was holding back a smirk. The girls exchanged a glance. As the movie started, Kaminari, true to form, didn't make it past the halfway mark before he began to fidget. Guys, is it just me, or did that doll just move? Kaminari whispered, clutching a pillow to his chest. It's a horror movie, dude, Sarah said, munching on popcorn. That's kind of the point. But, why does it have to be so creepy? Kaminari whined. Bakugou cut himself off with a growl. Stop being such a baby. To everyone's shock, he stood up, shoved the pillow aside, and plopped himself into Kaminari's laps, much like a cat claiming its territories. The room went silent. Kaminari blinked up at him, confused but not displeased. If you're going to freak out, at least do it quietly, Bakugou grumbled, leaning back against Kaminari's chest like it was the most natural thing in the room. Now shut up and watch the damn movie. Kaminari's face went red as his hands instinctively moved to rest on Bakugou's hips, steadying him. Okay. The girls were losing their minds. Mina, who had been sipping soda, spat it back into a cup. Did he just sit on Kaminari's lap? Jiro finished, her jaw practically on the floor. Yeah, he did. I knew it! Hagakure whisper screamed. They're dating! They have to be! Shh! Yorozu hushed them, though her cheeks were flushed with surprise. He'll hear you. The boys, meanwhile, were equally stunned. Kirishima leaned over to Midoriya, whispering, Dude, did you know about this? Midoriya shook his head frantically. No idea. Do you think he's gonna blow up the couch if we say something? Zero asked, a nervous laughter escaping him. Probably, Kirishima said, though he couldn't help but grin. As the movie continued, Bakugou stayed firmly in Kaminari's lap, completely unbothered by the stares. Kaminari, however, looked like he was trying to decide whether to be embarrassed or elated. He settled for nervously running his hand through Bakugou's hair, which earned him a gruff, Stop that, or I'm gonna bite your fingers off. Still, Bakugou didn't move. When the credits finally rolled, everyone sat in stunned silence. Bakugou stood up, stretched, and turned to Kaminari, who was still frozen in place. Come on, idiot, you're drooling. Kaminari blinked and quickly wiped at his mouth. What? No, I'm not. You are, Bakugou said, smirking as he pulled Kaminari to his feet. Now, let's go. I'm not cleaning after your lazy ass tomorrow. Right, Kaminari stammered, trailing after him like a puppy. The moment they were out of earshot, the common room erupted. "What was that?" Mina screamed, bouncing on the couch. Oh my god, they're actually dating. I can't believe it." "I mean, it makes sense," Jira said, still recovering from the shock. "But Bakugo in a lab? Did he see how he didn't even care that we were all watching?" Hagakure chimed in. "He was so chill about it." "I guess he knew we'd figure out eventually," Yarosa mused, smiling. "He didn't seem surprised." Meanwhile, in Kaminai's room, the electric boy was pacing nervously, while Bakugou sat on the bed, watching him with a mix of amusement and exasperation. "They totally know now," Kaminai said, his hands flying to his hair. "They're gonna ask me a million questions, and Mina's probably gonna want for details and—" "Let them," Bakugou interrupted, lying back on the bed with a smirk. "Huh?" Kaminai stopped, blinking at him. "You think I care what these extras think?" Bakugou said, his voice softening slightly. "Let them talk. Doesn't change anything." Kaminari stared at him, his frantic pacing forgotten as a warm smile spread across his face. "Baby, you're the best, you know that?" "Tch, damn right I am," Bakugou muttered, though his ears were tinged pink. Unable to resist, Kaminari flopped onto the bed beside him, propping himself up on one elbow to look at Bakugou. His gaze softened as he reached out, brushing his fingers over Bakugou's cheek. "You mean it? You don't care if everyone knows?" Bakugou closed his eyes briefly, leaning into the couch before cracking one crimson eye open to glare at him. "I just said I didn't I?" Kaminari chuckled, leaning closer until their faces were inches apart. "You're so good to me." "Stop being a sap," Bakugou grumbled, though his hands reached up to gently hold Kaminai's face, pulling him down into a kiss. The kiss was soft, a slow, lingering press of the lips that made Kaminai's heart skip a beat. Bakugou's thumbs traced gentle circles against Kaminai's jaw as he deepened the kiss, his usual roughness replaced by tenderness that Kaminai couldn't get enough of. When they broke apart, Kaminari let out a happy sigh, his forehead resting against Bakugou's. "You're such a softie," he teased, his voice barely above a whisper. "Shut up," Bakugou muttered, though there was no heat in his voice. He tugged Kaminari down again, pressing a feather-like kiss to the corner of his mouth, then another to his temple. "Perfect wife material," Kaminari murmured, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Bakugou froze for a second before pinching Kaminari's side, earning a squeak and a burst of laughter. "Say that again and I'll fry you," he warned. Those lips brushed against Kaminari's in another fleeting kiss before he could fully pull back. Kaminari grinned, his cheeks warm and his heart fuller than ever. "Whatever you say, babe." And just like that, the secret was officially out. But for once, Bakugou didn't mind, as long as Kaminari kept looking at him like that, Nothing else mattered. The girls of 1A were still recovering from the bombshell of the century. Bakugou Katsuki, the human grenade, had plopped himself into Kaminari Denki's lap during movie night, effectively confirming their relationship. Now, as everyone loitered in the common room the next morning, the air was buzzing with barely contained curiosity. "Do you think they'll admit it?" Mina whispered to Jiro, her pink eyes sparkling with mischief. "No way," Jiro replied, leaning against the arm of the couch. "Bakugou's not exactly the sharing kind." "Who knows? They might not need to," Hagakure chimed in, her disembodied voice bouncing with excitement. "Kaminari's probably dying to gloat." Sure enough, Kaminari entered the room with a swagger that could rival Hawk's on a good day. He was grinning ear to ear, his yellow hair messy from sleep, but his energy unmistakably smug. "Morning, everyone," Kaminari chirped, stretching dramatically as if he hadn't just shaken the foundation of their social dynamics the night before. The girls zeroed in immediately. "Morning, Denki," Mina sing-songed, her grin a mirror of his. "Sleep well?" "Sure did," Kaminari said, plopping onto the couch with a carefree air. He leaned back, draping an arm along the backrest, like he was the king of the dorms. "Can't complain." "You seem unusually chipper," Yaoyorozu observed, her eyes narrowing slightly. "Who, me?" Kaminari gestured to himself, ignorance. "What can I say? Life's been good." "You're so smug," Jiro muttered, crossing her arms. Kaminari smirked, leaning forward. "Can you blame me? I mean, come on, look at me." He paused for dramatic effect, then added, "I bagged Bakugou Katsuki. Who else can say that?" The room erupted. "I knew it!" Mina screamed, practically leaping onto the couch beside him. "You are dating!" Wait, Sarah interjected, holding up his hands. "So it's like official? You and Bakugou?" "Yup," Kaminari said, popping the pea with a shameless pride. He leaned back again, arms crossed. "We've been together for a while now." Kirishima's jaw dropped. "Dude, how? I mean, Baku's great and all, but how you do it?" Kaminari grinned, winking. "What can I say? I'm irresistible." As if summoned by the commotion, Bakugou entered the room, still in his sleeve shirt and sweatpants, his hair a wild explosion. He paused in the doorway, glaring at the group like a feral cat cornered by a pack of nosy dogs. "What the hell are you idiots yelling about?" he barked, his fierce tone silencing the room in an instant. All eyes turned to him, and yet Kaminari, entirely unbothered, grinned like he'd just won the lottery. "Morning, babe," Kaminari called out, his voice dripping with affection, his smugness practically radiating across the room. Bakugou's eye twitched as the redness began to creep up his ears. "Don't call me that in front of these losers." "Why not?" Kaminari replied, standing up and casually sauntering over to him. It's not like it's a secret anymore. Bakugou groaned, pitching his bridge of his nose in exasperation. You couldn't keep your stupid mouth shut, could you? Of course not. Kaminari grin only widened as he closed the gap between them. How could I keep quiet about how amazing my boyfriend is? The room collectively inhaled, the disbelief palpable. Bakugou scowled, his ears now fully crimson. You're so goddamn annoying. And you're a perfect housewife, Kaminari added smugly, clearly enjoying every ounce of Bakugou's visible embarrassment. Bakugou's glare could have melted steel. Call me that again, and I'll blow you to hell. But Kaminari only laughed, pressing a quick kiss to Bakugou's cheek before nimbly dodging the inevitable swat aimed at his head. Whatever you say, babe. The stunned silence didn't last long. No way, Sarah whispered, clutching Kirishima's arm as if to steady himself. Did we just see Bakugou Katsuki get kissed without blowing someone up? Am I hallucinating? This is real life, Jiro muttered, her voice tinged with disbelief. We're living in an alternate universe, right? Kirishima, however, grinned, crossing his arms proudly. Honestly, I think it's amazing. Bakugou and Kaminari, totally manly power couple. Manly isn't the word I'd use, Sarah said, his expression still stuck somewhere between awe and horror. Neither would I, Murmur chimed, in a tone both amused and impressed. But I have to admit, it's endearing. I can't believe this, Mina groaned, slumping dramatically to the floor. Kaminari landed Bakugou? There's no justice in the world. Honestly, it makes sense, Tokiyami said cryptically, his arms crossed in thought. Sero stared at him. How does it make sense? Tokiyami adjusted his cape, his tone foreboding. Bakugou is like a storm, chaotic, powerful, and intense. And Kaminari is lightning that brings light to his darkness. Jiro raised an eyebrow. Did you make Bakugou sound romantic? Don't read into it, Tokiyami replied, flipping his cape dramatically. Lightning boy's got a good thing going, Todoroki added quietly, his tone approving. Kirishima suddenly gasped, his eyes lighting up as though he just solved a great mystery. Wait a second. That's why Bakugou's always yelling at Kaminari to take better care of himself. He's not just being bossy, he's being protective. The class collectively gasped, the pieces falling into place like a perfectly executed combo move. That makes so much sense, Achaka said, her voice tinged with awe. Like, remember that time Kaminari forgot to eat before training and Bakugou shoved a protein bar into his mouth? Or that time Kaminari used his quirk too much and passed out? Mina added. Bakugou stayed with him in Recovery School office the whole time. Holy crap, Sarah whispered. Bakugou is wife material. From the kitchen, Bakugou's voice rang out, sharp and indignant. I can hear you, damn extras! Unbothered by the shouting, Kaminari's laughter echoed through the room, full of mischief and warmth. Don't mind them, babe. They're just jealous. Shut the hell up, Bakugou growled, storming back into the room with a scowl. Despite his grumpy demeanour, the faint flush on his face betrayed him, making Kaminari grin wide. And as the class buzzed with awe and disbelief and newfound respect, Bakugou grabbed Kaminari by the collar, dragging him towards the door. Kaminari followed along willingly, still laughing like he'd won the lottery. I told you, Kaminari said smugly, winking at the group over his shoulder as they exited. A perfect housewife. Danky! Bakugou's roar echoed down the hall, but it only made Kaminari laugh harder. The second the door closed behind them, the room erupted in chaos. Oh my god, they're so cute! Mina screamed, clutching Jiro's arm like her life depended on it. This is so weird, Kirishima mumbled, his face caught between confusion and joy. But also, kinda perfect? Do you think Bakugou's, romantic? Hagakure asked, her invisible form practically bouncing with excitement. Definitely, Mina said with conviction. He's totally the gruff but secretly sweet type. I bet he plans the best dates and pretends it's no deal. From the hallway, Bakugou's voice boomed, loud enough to be heard through the door. I can still hear you! Oh, we know, Mina called back, cackling. We just don't care. Out in the hallway, Kaminari, clearly emboldened by the chaos, threw an arm around Bakugou's waist as they walked. His grin wide and his tone practically oozed mischief. Oh, don't be bad, babe. They're just jealous because they can't handle how awesome they are. Awesome, huh? Bakugou muttered, shooting him a sharp, side-eyed glare. Yep, Kaminari said confidently, looking up at him with a grin that rivals the sun. Face it, babe, we're iconic. Bakugou rolled his eyes but didn't pull away. Instead, his hands twitched before finding its way to Kaminari's shoulder. He gave it a rough squeeze that felt far softer than his usual touch. You're an idiot, he grumbled, his tone softer than usual. And you love me for it, Kaminari teased, leaning his head back against Bakugou's shoulder. As they walked, Bakugou sighed, his usual scowl softening into something more resigned. The corner of his mouth twitched upwards. You're so lucky I don't blow your ass up. Lucky? Kaminari repeated, his grin turning mischievous. Nah, I just know how to handle you. Keep talking and you're dead, Bakugou muttered, though his tone held no real heat. Love you too, Kaminari chirped, a cheeky grin plastered across his face. Kaminari stopped abruptly in the hallway, spinning to face Bakugou and catching him off guard. Before Bakugou could bark a question, Kaminari cupped his boyfriend's face in his hands and pressed a soft, lingering kiss to his lips. Bakugo stiffened for a fraction of a second before melting into it, his hands finding Kaminari's waist. When they broke apart, Bakugo's crimson eyes locked onto Kaminari's, and the usual fire in them was replaced by something softer. "You're such a sap," Bakugo muttered, his voice barely above a grumble. "Maybe," Kaminari replied, beaming. "But you love it." Bakugo scoffed, leaning in to steal another quick kiss, this one rougher, but no less affectionate. "Shut up before I change my mind." Kaminari laughed, leaning into Bakugo's shoulder as they started walking again. "You're not fooling anyone, babe. You're a total softie." Back in the common room, the rest of the class sat in stunned silence for a beat before Mina exploded in excitement. "Well," Mina said, throwing her hands in the air, "that was the cutest thing I've ever seen." "I can't believe Bakugo actually lets him get away with that," Jiro added, shaking her head in disbelief. "I can," Yarozu said with a smile. "They balance each other out perfectly." "Yeah," Kirishima agreed, his grin wide and proud. "It's weird, but it works. Good for them." Upstairs, Kaminari and Bakugo reached Kaminari's room. Kaminari turned the open door, but Bakugo tugged him back, pulling him into another kiss before Kaminari could say a word. This one was far slower and deeper, and full of unspoken emotion. When Bakugo finally pulled back, his forehead rested against Kaminari's, his eyes searching his boyfriend's face. "You talk too much," Bakugo said softly, his voice carrying none of its usual bite. "Yeah?" Kaminari grinned, running his fingers through Bakugo's hair. "You don't seem to mind that." "Ch! Don't push your luck." Bakugo's lips quirked into the faintest smirk before he kissed Kaminari again, this time gentler, his hands steadying Kaminari's hips. When they finally pushed apart, Kaminari chuckled, his cheeks flushed. "Man, I'm so keeping you forever." "Damn right you are," Bakugo muttered, giving Kaminari's hips a light squeeze before stepping into the room. "Now get in here before I change my mind." Kaminari followed him in, his grin so wide it hurt, and as the door clicked shut, he was pretty sure he'd just won the jackpot. In the common room, the class remained buzzing with excitement. One thing was undeniable. Bakugo Katsuki and Kaminari Denki were the ultimate power couple. Hey fishies, I hope you enjoy this one shot. This is a rare Baku Denki fic. I'm not sure what the actual fic name is because it's such a rare fic. I'm not even sure most fickers consider Baku Denki fic because, I mean, it's similar to a Izu Baku fic ship in terms of like the dynamic, because one's a sunshine blonde who loves everyone and cares about everyone, and but instead of it being a smart blonde, a like smart cookie who's like fierce and loyal, it's a dumb blonde who's energetic and is excitable. It's like that, but like, you know, Buck is being Bakugo in the corner, which is good for him. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one shot, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.